All right. So, welcome to our first edition of Speedrunning Research. This is a series where we're going to be running through some of our librarians' favorite tips to level up your research skills in under 30 minutes. And we've just got 3 of these scheduled so far, but if folks keep showing up, we'll keep offering more. And we'd love to hear your ideas on what you'd like to see featured in these sessions. I will share in the chat some slides that you can refer back to for some of the tips I'm going to go through today. And let me just make sure I can get the chat up. Okay. And if you have to drop off early, I'm just going to throw the feedback survey in here. And the contact to get in touch with a librarian if you have follow-up questions after today. And I'll be putting those on the sort of episode notes on YouTube as well for those of you watching after the fact. So for this edition of Speedrunning Research, we are going to be going through how to unlock full text. So a lot of you need to access scholarly articles for your research. And a lot of these scholarly articles are going to be in journals that have paywalls up. And we know that it can be kind of a pain to get around those paywalls and get access to them. But we don't want you to ever have to pay for a scholarly article as long as you are here at St. Mary's. 99.9% of the time, we can get it for you through one of our subscriptions or interlibrary loan, or potentially some other options as well. So we're going to start with some basics, some of my favorite tips that even just Sunday night when I was working on the reference desk, I had a student come to me asking, I've got this, just this abstract that's on PubMed, but how do I get to the full text? And I was like, this is great information that this will be a helpful thing to go over together on Tuesday. So let me make sure it's out of the way. So here's what we're going to do first. So we are going to just start with library search. So if you're on the library homepage, library search is the big old search box right in the middle. And this can be a good place to start with your research if you're coming to this session or watching this video because you're like, I don't even know where to start with finding scholarly articles. I know I need to find them, but I don't know where they are. And some of you here on the call do know where to get started and how to get to library search. But library search is basically kind of like the library's Google in some respects, that it searches across a lot of our different databases and a lot of our different e-journal holdings. So you don't have to pick a particular discipline to search in. This is cross-disciplinary. So library search is a good place to get started, and we'll dig into that in a sec. The other favorite tool for getting started with research is in your Canvas course. You'll see this little SMC Library Resources tab on the left. And if you click on that, it's going to detect what kind of course you're in this case, kinesiology, and it'll go ahead and just embed magically the kinesiology research guide from our kinesiology librarian. And so here, for instance, if you're in a kines course, the article databases that Sarah here recommends are Sport Discus, Nursing and Allied Health Premium, PubMed Medline, and there's even a particular guide for this class, Sport History, that has to do a particular research assignment. So it's always worth checking what your librarian recommends if you're looking for scholarly articles by going in your Canvas course to SMC Library Resources. Then no, continue working. So in this case, I took a recommendation and clicked on ProQuest Black Studies, and that could be a particular database that would be a good place to find scholarly articles for the particular project I'm working on. Aside from library search and specific subject databases, we also know a lot of students and faculty like to use Google Scholar. So Google Scholar is a Google product, of course, but that tries to find scholarly articles. And mostly is successful. Sometimes not. We'll talk about some of those caveats a little bit later. That can be a good place to go for scholarly articles too. And we also know that a lot of folks these days are using ChatGPT, say, for, oops, I'll go back to that in a sec, are using ChatGPT to find research articles. There also are some caveats that we want to keep in mind around that, but we'll talk about some things you might want to consider if you are using ChatGPT to find research articles, or Claude, or whatever your AI chatbot is of choice. We'll talk about some things that you might want to consider in terms of how to get to the full text if it doesn't actually take you to the full text of an article. So let's get going. Let's see what I'm going to do for an example with library search. Say for that sport history course, I'm researching history of race and sport, and specifically I'm interested in the protests at the 1968 Olympics. So I did a little search in library search, and sometimes people then get to all these different sources and they're like, all right, I need scholarly journal articles. What do I do now? There is a filter on the left for peer-reviewed journals. So it's a good idea to start by clicking that if you know that journal articles are the specific kind of source you're looking for. And then you'll see we still have 25 results here. Maybe this first one looks interesting to me. If I decide I want to access the whole PDF, you can either click Get PDF or Read Online. Sometimes, for one reason or another, one of these links won't work. If so, just try the other one. So if you see Get PDF or Read Online, it's as easy as that. I'm gonna click Get PDF. Fingers crossed this works. And bingo, there's the full article. I can go ahead and save it to my computer and or to Zotero, which we could do a different session about if you want. If you have a sort of a citation manager that helps you save and cite all your sources, you could download it to that. But I'm just going to go back here. So Get PDF or Read Online is the easy way to do it. Sometimes there isn't a Get PDF, Read On or Read Online option, and so then you might just have to click on Available Online. When you do that, it's going to bring you down to this View Online full text availability section. A lot of people get lost here too. What you want to do is click the Access Content in Gale, or sometimes there's multiple different databases that are going to be listed there. And if you click on that, now I'm taking a leap of faith and seeing if Gale is going to come through for us. Bingo. So here's the actual article right there. And if you want to save the PDF, you can go ahead and just click the download button there. So that those are mostly the two options you'll see in library search, is either a Get PDF, Read Online, or having to click on Available Online and browse through the different databases and click any of those links to get to the full text in a particular database or platform that has that journal. And if you have any questions about any of that, feel free to throw them in the chat and I can come back to those. The other option that I mentioned is sometimes on a research guide, you'll see that there's, or perhaps in a research workshop with your librarian, you'll find that there's a particular database that's recommended that they use. So instead of starting with library search, you can still start with the library by choosing one of our databases that really focuses in on one subject area. So ProQuest One Black Studies is obviously a database focused on collections that feature Black experience. There's primary sources, there's scholarly journals in here. And so in this case, if we wanted to say like 1968 Olympics, and you can select a document type down below. So they've got clearly all different kinds of articles here. I think what I might just do is go ahead and have it. Oh, my session ended, of course. All right, let's click on that again. ProQuest Black Studies, bingo, 1968 Olympics. Oh, you could even say, all right, now it's coming up with some suggestions too. Black Power search. Oh, and there's a peer reviewed box I could have checked too. All right, so here's new, you can see newspaper articles, primary source collections. So whenever you're searching in a particular database, if you want journal articles, it might be good to narrow down, for instance, in this case, to journals. And now you can see there's articles from all these different journals. And in this particular database, the full text is right there. So I would just click on full text PDF, bingo. In some databases, they are more of an index. They list a lot of articles, but don't have full text for all of them. In that case, there's usually some kind of link that says, check for full text or view full text. And in that case, you might want to click on that and it'll just take you to a different platform to the full text, ideally. All right, so those are the easy ones. The library databases, which of course I have to feature first. But what about if you are starting on Google Scholar? And you might see on Google Scholar that actually a lot of the articles that come up already have PDFs right there. So if I wanted to see this article, I could just click on the PDF and it pulls it right up. In other cases, you'll see, especially with books, it won't actually have the full text there. This also happens sometimes with some journal articles. For instance, this one from Ethnic and Racial Studies, a journal published by Taylor and Francis. There is no full text link here. So what do we do in that case? The first step I tend to recommend is go ahead and search for it in library search, because even if Google Scholar doesn't have the full text available for free, we might. So it can be a good idea to just copy the title. If it is a very vague title like Racism and the Olympics or sort of generic, you might want to also copy the author's name so you can include that in your search. But in this case, I'm going to just copy this whole title. And I've already sort of done the search here. So let's see, if we go back to library search, we put the title in here and you'll see it says no records found. So in this case, we didn't happen to have this particular article, but there is a backup option, which is interlibrary loan, as we were talking about before the recording started. So in this case, we could click search using interlibrary loan. And what this is a way for us to tap into a network of libraries beyond St. Mary's that can share articles and book chapters and books and other items with us. So in this case, I would click get it for me from other libraries. I would sign in as an SMC community member, and then you can get a digital copy. It says delivered in 24 hours by email. So all you have to do then is click get it, check the copyright acknowledgement, and send it in. And usually within around 24 hours, you will get an email that has the PDF attached. So that is one option that's available. The other thing that might happen is, in this case, I'm going to copy the title here. I'm going to put it in, go back to library search. This is what it looks like on the library homepage. This source, I didn't have to go to interlibrary loan because it says here we have it. You can just click here to get the PDF. I'm going to accept the terms and it'll go ahead and open up the PDF for you. So there's one sort of trick that I also like to tell people about Google Scholar. And that is that if you go to your settings, the sort of 3-line menu in the upper left, and then you go to settings, you can go to library links, search for St. Mary's College of California, and then you can see I already have this checked here. This is going to connect to some directory of our holdings, and that's how I was able to see this view it at SMC library. And that will often provide full text that isn't freely available to other people, but they know that we have access to it, so they can get access here. So that is just sort of some quick tips about Google Scholar. This is often what we see with students and faculty when they give us a citation that they're trying to get access to. It's because they found it through Google or Google Scholar, but it doesn't have the full text. So all the easy peasy thing to do is just copy, paste into library search and see if you can find it that way. And if that doesn't work, if you try library search and it says we don't have it, and then you try enter library alone and encounter any problems, please don't hesitate to start a live chat with a librarian, and we can always walk you through the process or troubleshoot what's going on. And when you're actually in library search doing that double check, there's a little Ask Us button that appears on the right. And if you click on that, if it's during our reference hours, which end at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. So we just got offline, but then you can just start a live chat right there, or you can click search the FAQs or submit a question, and that's a way that you can send a question in so that we'll just respond to you when we get in the next morning. Okay, so here's an example of say you're using ChatGPT to help you come up with some sources. One thing that we caution researchers about when using ChatGPT or similar AI chatbots is that it can hallucinate, is one word for it. It can kind of make up sources. So it is trained to generate language. And often what it will do is take one author who is known to write things about this topic and kind of smoosh it together with a title that may or may not be written by someone else, and that doesn't appear in the particular journal and issue that it says it does. So be very careful if you are using ChatGPT or a similar source on not relying on the sources it provides you, but instead making sure to always click the link and get to the full text and double check to make sure it is a real source. So in this case, if I click on this source, I believe it's going to, yeah, it's got the PDF right here. So that it made it super easy, but if it didn't, and it has that PDF because I am logged in with a single sign-on session as a St. Mary's user, so I can't get out of that, and it knows that I should have access. But if you are a random person on the street, you probably would not have full access to this article. So what I'm going to do, or what I would do if I didn't have access, was, again, copy the title, go back to library search, and here's the full title, and get PDF. Actually, this one is open access, so it would be free. There's basically this thing where a lot of journals pay or make libraries pay for access to them, or make users pay access to read the articles, but some journals choose to pursue an open access model where they say users don't actually have to pay to read the articles. And instead, usually what happens is you have to pay to publish in those journals. So in this case, this was one of those open access articles. And I do find that I think ChatGPT prioritizes often open access sources because those are the ones it can access by scraping the web. Again, just a simple copy paste question in order to get to the full text there. But one additional thing that you may have noticed as I've been browsing around is there's often this download PDF St. Mary's College of California little logo in the lower left-hand corner. And what that is an app called LibKey Nomad, which comes with one of the subscription products that our library pays for. And it's an app that you can get and download onto your computer, and it will, or install in your browser rather. And anytime you're on a journal's page, it already knows that you should be authenticated through St. Mary's and can often give you a PDF when it doesn't look like one exists here. So that is called LibKey Nomad, and I have that in the slides that I'm providing in the show notes. Let me just get that. Here's an FAQ if you want to install that on your computer or in your browser. And that is, those are the basic tips that I had. So thanks so much for joining. What I'm going to do for those of you who are live on here is go ahead and stop sharing. I'll stop recording, and then we can deal with the particular questions that you have or issues that you've encountered accessing full text. So I hope whether you're watching live or on YouTube. You can join us in a couple of weeks, and we will be doing another session. The next one is going to be about going deeper into AI powered research tools that actually do better than ChatGPT in a lot of ways in terms of finding scholarly articles. So save the date for March 3rd, and you can go ahead and register and sign up to join that one if you're interested in that.